In the year 507, the air was heavy with the scent of conflict, a foreboding prelude to the war that would redefine the balance of power in Gaul. The Frankish-Gothic War was more than a clash of armies. It was a collision of cultures, ideologies, and ambitions. At the heart of this struggle was Clovis I, king of the Franks, a leader whose vision extended far beyond the borders of his realm. Opposing him stood Alaric II, king of the Visigoths, a ruler navigating the treacherous waters of diplomacy and war. The seeds of the war were sown in a fractured Gaul, where Roman influence had waned, leaving a patchwork of kingdoms vying for dominance. The Franks, a burgeoning power in the north, sought to extend their reach, while the Visigoths, entrenched in the south, aimed to preserve their hold over the region. The catalyst for the conflict was Clovis's ambition to unify Gaul under his rule and his desire to champion Nicene Christianity against the Arian beliefs of the Visigoths. In his court at Soissons, Clovis gathered his trusted advisors and warriors. Among them was Ragnaca, a fierce and cunning general whose loyalty to the Frankish cause was matched only by his thirst for glory. By his side stood Ordofleda, Clovis's queen and a woman of sharp intellect, whose counsel often tempered her husband's fiery disposition. Together, they devised a strategy to confront the Visigothic threat. The first move in this deadly game was a diplomatic overture. Clovis sought an alliance with the Burgundians, a neighboring kingdom with its own grievances against the Visigoths. Through a combination of promises and veiled threats, he secured their support, bolstering his forces for the campaign ahead. In the spring of 507, Clovis led his army south, crossing the Loire River into Visigothic territory. The Frankish host was a formidable sight. Rows of warriors clad in mail, their banners fluttering in the wind, and the thunder of hooves announcing the advance of their cavalry. Among them was a young warrior named Dagobert, whose bravery and skill in battle would earn him a place in the annals of history. The Visigoths, aware of the impending invasion, mobilized their forces under the command of Alaric II. In the city of Poitiers, Alaric convened a council of his nobles and generals. Among them was Theudas, a seasoned commander whose strategic acumen was vital to the Visigothic defense. Alaric's court was also a place of intrigue, where rival factions vied for influence and the specter of betrayal loomed large. The armies met at Vouillé, a plain near Poitiers, in a battle that would decide the fate of Gaul. The sun rose over the battlefield, casting a golden light on the assembled forces. The Franks, with their disciplined infantry and heavy cavalry, faced the Visigoths, whose ranks included skilled archers and fierce warriors. The clash of steel and the cries of the wounded filled the air as the two sides fought with unrelenting ferocity. Clovis, mounted on a warhorse, led his troops with a mix of tactical brilliance and sheer determination. He rallied his men with cries of, "For God and Kingdom," inspiring them to press forward despite the chaos of battle. Dagobert, wielding a longsword, fought valiantly, cutting through the enemy lines with precision. His deeds would become the stuff of legend, immortalized in the sagas of the Franks. On the Visigothic side, Theudas directed the defense with remarkable skill, countering Frankish advances and exploiting weaknesses in their formations. Alaric, clad in ornate armor, fought alongside his men, earning their respect and loyalty. Yet despite their efforts, the tide of battle began to turn against the Visigoths. The turning point came when Clovis engaged Alaric in single combat. The two kings clashed in a duel that epitomized the struggle between their peoples. Their swords met with a resounding clang, and their movements were a blur of skill and strength. In the end, Clovis emerged victorious, striking down Alaric and shattering the morale of the Visigothic army. With their leader fallen, the Visigoths retreated, and the Franks claimed victory at Vouillé. The aftermath of the battle was a scene of devastation. Fields littered with the dead and dying, and the once proud Visigothic banners trampled underfoot. For Clovis, the victory was a triumph that solidified his hold over Gaul and marked the beginning of a new era. In the years that followed, Clovis consolidated his power, uniting the Frankish tribes and expanding his territory. He established Paris as his capital and laid the foundations for the Merovingian dynasty. His conversion to Christianity and his support for the church earned him the title of the first Christian king of the Franks, a legacy that would endure for centuries. For the Visigoths, the defeat at Vouillé marked the decline of their kingdom in Gaul. Their influence waned, and their territories were absorbed by the Franks and other powers. Theudas, who had survived the battle, fled to Hispania, where he would play a role in the Visigothic kingdom's future. Dagobert, the young warrior whose courage had shone at Vouillé, became a celebrated hero. His exploits were recounted in tales and songs, and his name became synonymous with the bravery and resilience of the Frankish people. As an elder, he would recount his experiences to a new generation, ensuring that the memory of the Frankish-Gothic War lived on. The Frankish-Gothic War was a defining moment in the history of Gaul, a conflict that shaped the destiny of nations and the lives of those who lived through it. It was a story of ambition and sacrifice, of heroism and tragedy, and of a world in transition. And though the war ended centuries ago, its echoes can still be felt in the cultural and political landscape of Europe. Yet beyond the grand narratives of kings and battles, it was the human stories that truly defined the conflict. The courage of a young warrior, the wisdom of a queen, the determination of a general, these were the threads that wove the tapestry of history. And as the sun set on the battlefield of Vouillé, it illuminated a world forever changed by the clash of Franks and Goths. In the quiet that followed the storm of war, a new chapter began, one that would see the rise of the Frankish kingdom and the enduring legacy of Clovis and his people. The Frankish-Gothic War was not just a war of conquest, it was a crucible in which the future of Europe was forged, a testament to the power of vision, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit. And so, the legend lived on, carried by the voices of those who remembered, whispered through the annals of time, an eternal echo of war and destiny.